residing in Teaneck, New Jersey for the line is Eric Orgen. He grew up in L.A., has been residing in Teaneck, New Jersey for the past 22 years. And over the course of the last week, he was subjected to an anti-Semitic attack in Miami. Eric, thanks for joining the show. Really appreciate it.
Good morning, Ben. Big fan. I'm super happy to be here. This is better than Disneyland.
Well, I appreciate it. So why don't you relate what happened in Miami the other day? Because I think that a lot of the media have tended to ignore these attacks. They've pretended that they're coming from right-wingers, that they don't exist. So what exactly happened?
Sure. So we were actually down in Florida for the Jewish holiday of Shavuot, and just taking a leisurely stroll along Collins Avenue in Bal Harbour after synagogue in the evening. And a couple of gentlemen who were heading towards synagogue passed us. A car was coming from the opposite direction, stopped. Four men, probably in their early 20s, looking Middle Eastern, essentially climbed out of their windows and started screaming at us, "Free Palestine, F you Jews, Jews should die." Right away, I was just concerned. I had my daughter, I had my wife, I was with a friend. I kind of put them behind me, maybe shared a few words back across the highway, at which point they yelled that they were going to rape my wife and rape my daughter. I mean, who says anything like that? Threw garbage at us through the window, threw a water bottle. Thankfully, nothing came in contact with us. But then the coolest part was someone who was in a vehicle behind them, witnessed what was happening, drove around, pulled a gun, aimed it at them, at which point they took off, and he gave chase. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get a license plate number. I just chalked it up to more hate. Unfortunately, it's happened to me before, growing up in Los Angeles, as well as in New York City. But I was angry, so I put it up on Facebook. It got to the mayor of Bal Harbour, who had me on the phone within minutes, opportunity to speak with the police department down there, file a report, and they've been on top of the entire case. So, that's it in a nutshell.
So I will say that I too am I'm a new resident of Florida, and I can say that this state actually takes law enforcement pretty seriously. And when we've had anti-Semitic incidents, the police have been really, really good about trying to find out what happened, about making sure that the citizens feel protected. I know that the same has not been as true up in places like New Jersey, up in places like New York. Maybe you can talk a little bit about what the experience has been like up in New York and New Jersey.
Sure. And we hope to be joining you in South Florida the next couple of years. That was also part of the trip, start house looking. But yeah, I mean, listen, it comes down to the government, right? And you're lucky that you live in a red state where law and order matters. Here in New Jersey, in the New York area, I mean, I think unless they have you on videotape actually killing somebody, there isn't even bail anymore. People are allowed to roam the streets. It's complete, utter mayhem. A lot of it, I think, is just coming from the liberal left who doesn't understand law and order anymore. People are being attacked in the streets simply for wearing a yarmulke, simply for having a belief that might not be with what some of these politicians are spewing today, and it's pure hate. I look at people like Ilhan Omar, who the United States of America saved her. Look where she grew up. Look at all the opportunities she got, and all she's doing is spewing hate from the halls of Congress. This is not what our founding fathers wanted, and it's upsetting.
Well, Eric, final question for you. How are your wife and daughter doing? Because obviously they were there for that. So have they been dealing with the fallout?
So my wife's an elected public official, so she's used to people yelling and screaming things at her all the time. So she's dealing a little bit better. My 16-year-old, thank God she's okay. But it made her a little nervous. You know, she's a little nervous to go outside and walk the dog. She's a little nervous to be outside. What's going to happen? Our oldest daughter, who's also a big fan of yours, Ben, she's actually in Israel this year in a gap year. So she's living in the heart of Jerusalem, in the old city, witnessing things happening there every day. She's resilient. My younger one will get through this. It just hurts her to realize that, we all bleed red. We're all human beings, but this kind of hate and this kind of vitriol has to stop.
Eric Orgen, thanks so much for joining the show. Appreciate it. And I'm glad that the state of Florida treated you with the respect that you deserve. And I'm also glad that this is a gun-carrying state, man. There's some great citizens out here in Florida. Did you ever, by the way, sorry, quick question. Did you ever get the information of the person who actually protected you, or there's just sort of a guardian angel there?
So he actually did reach out to me on Facebook, and we did make a connection, and he's been thanked profusely. His information was given to the police department. He's spoken to them. And just one last thing, Ben, about a gun state. I usually do bring a firearm with me when I do come down to Florida. I am licensed to carry there. But this trip, it was just too early in the morning. I didn't want the extra hour of hassle at the airport. Part of me is upset I didn't have it. The other part of me is probably a good thing I didn't have it with me.
Well, Eric, really appreciate the time and stay safe out there.
You too, Ben. Thank you very much.
All right.